The morning air was crisp, the kind of cold that bites at your fingertips, when I heard the crack of a gunshot echo across my pasture. My heart stopped as I sprinted toward the sound, boots pounding the frost-covered grass of my family's ranch in rural Wyoming. I'm Caleb Whitaker, 32, the fifth generation to tend this land in Sweetwater Valley. The sight that greeted me was a gut punch. One of my rare belted Galloway bulls lay lifeless, blood soaking the earth beneath him. Before I could process the loss, another shot rang out from the far end of the field. Strangers with rifles were weaving through my herd heritage cattle, protected by federal law, each one a living piece of my family's history. And there, standing among them with a smirk that could curdle milk, was Vanessa. She thought she could silence me. She was dead wrong. This was my land, my legacy, and I was ready to fight with everything I had. The day had started like any other Wednesday in October 2027. My belted Galloways, with their distinctive black and white coats, weren't just livestock. They were a testament to my great-great-grandfather's journey from Scotland in 1885. Only 39 of these animals remained in Wyoming, each one a treasure worth more than gold not for profit, but for what they carried, a century of grit and pride. My father, before a tractor accident claimed him 12 years ago, made me swear to protect them. Caleb, he'd said, voice rough with urgency, these cattle are our blood. Guard them with your life. I'd honored that promise, teaching myself agricultural law during sleepless nights, knowing someone would eventually come for what was ours. That someone was Vanessa Hargrove. Vanessa had arrived in Pine Ridge Estates, a shiny new suburb 2 miles from my fence line, just 6 months earlier. She'd crowned herself president of the Homeowners Association, though I later learned the real president, Mrs. Clara Morton, had passed away under murky circumstances 3 months prior. Vanessa, 47, was all sharp edges, polished nails, tailored suits, and a smile that could freeze a bonfire. She moved like she owned the world, but I didn't yet know the venom behind her charm. The gunshots shattered the quiet morning, sending my border collie, Rusty, into a frenzy. I ran toward the chaos, heart hammering, and found 3 men in camo stalking my herd with rifles. My prize bull, Angus, lay dead by the creek, his proud frame still. The other cattle huddled together, their calm replaced by panic. These weren't just animals. They were irreplaceable, descendants of the original Scottish stock my family had bred for generations. "Who the hell are you?" I shouted, voice booming across the field. The hunters barely flinched. One, a burly guy with a scruffy beard, had the nerve to wave like we were neighbors. But it was Vanessa, standing in a pristine cream blazer, who made my skin crawl. She held a thick manila folder like a weapon. "Mr. Whitaker," she called, her tone dripping with condescension, "I have documents you'll want to see." She strode toward me, heels defying the muddy ground, and handed me papers stamped with official seals. They claimed my cattle were infected with a rare bovine disease, a public health threat requiring immediate, humane disposal. My hands shook not from fear, but from rage. "This is bullshit," I growled, scanning the forged-looking documents. These cattle were cleared by the state vet 4 months ago, but the hunters kept moving, their rifles glinting in the morning light. Then Javier Ruiz arrived, his vet truck tearing down the dirt road. Javier, my friend since high school, had been fired from the state AG department for refusing to sign off on shady livestock culls. Now an independent vet, he was a man of principle in a world of compromise. "Caleb, what's going on?" he called, leaping from his truck. Without a word, he knelt beside Angus, his hands moving expertly over the bull's body. "This animal's healthy," he declared after minutes. "No disease here. Whatever killed him, it wasn't natural." Vanessa's composure flickered, a crack in her perfect facade. "Dr. Ruiz," she said, spitting his name like a curse, "your opinion isn't relevant. We have state authorization." But Javier wasn't cowed. "Lady, I've been saving animals longer than you've been playing power games. This stops now." The standoff was electric, the air thick with tension. Vanessa, undeterred, pulled another card. "Mr. Whitaker, there's more," she said, handing me a second set of papers. These bore the county courthouse seal, claiming my ranch's title was under dispute due to a 1885 land grant irregularity. I had 48 hours to vacate. My world spun, but I caught a fleeting look in Vanessa's eyes, guilt. Maybe, or something darker. It was enough to spark suspicion. This wasn't just bureaucracy, it was a setup. Instead of lashing out, I played calm. If this is legal, I guess I'll comply, I said, watching her surprise. What she didn't know was that my ranch was wired with hidden cameras, recording every move. If Vanessa wanted war, she'd get it in my terms. That night, in my kitchen surrounded by legal files, I dug deeper. Calls to my insurance company revealed a chilling pattern. For ranches in nearby counties had been hit with similar disease outbreaks in the past year, all on prime development land, all forced to sell cheap. At a dive bar in town, I met 3 former ranchers who'd lost everything to the same scam. Vanessa came sniffing around weeks before, one said. Said she was doing a health survey. The pieces clicked. Vanessa was targeting vulnerable ranches, using fake inspections to justify seizures. The veterinary inspector, Dr. Nathan Cole, had a history of falsifying reports. The same law firm handled every case, and the same developer Horizon Properties swooped in to buy the land. The next morning, I found a crack in Vanessa's armor. The HOA documents bore Mrs. Morton's signature, but she'd been declared mentally incompetent 6 months before her death. Vanessa had been forging her name, running the HOA like a crime syndicate. Then came a call from Sheriff Elena Vasquez, a straight shooter I'd known for years. Caleb, we need to talk, she whispered. We met at an abandoned feed mill, where she handed me an envelope stuffed with evidence recordings, photos, notes documenting Vanessa's fraud. Elena had been coerced into silence with bribes to cover her son's medical bills, but guilt had driven her to act. Vanessa's not just after your ranch, she said. She's working for Horizon Properties, targeting land across 3 states. You're their test case. Vanessa's media campaign hit like a storm. News crews swarmed my property, painting me as a reckless rancher endangering the community. Fake reviews flooded my ranch's social media, and a slick YouTube video starring an actor in my clothes abusing Angus cattle went viral. But Vanessa slipped up. The cattle in her video weren't belted Galloways. Javier confirmed it was a fraud. No vet would buy this, he said. As threats poured in from outraged viewers, I went live on social media, showing my healthy herd and calling out Vanessa's lies. The video exploded, rallying ranchers nationwide, but Vanessa countered with a court order seizing my land for obstructing inspections. The final showdown came at dusk, construction equipment circling my ranch like vultures. Vanessa strutted out, flanked by lawyers and officials, unaware that FBI agent Lauren Brooks was watching, her team disguised as reporters. I held up Elena's evidence. Vanessa, care to explain Dr. Cole's suspension or Mrs. Morton's forged signature? Her face paled, but she deflected with legal threats. Then Elena stepped forward, arresting Vanessa for fraud and racketeering. Agent Brooks sealed her fate, cuffs snapping on as Vanessa screamed about saving lives. Her grief over her daughter's death in a rural accident twisted into a crusade against ranchers. My cameras had caught it all, her downfall preserved in high definition. 3 months later, at the Cheyenne Federal Courthouse, Vanessa's empire crumbled. She got 15 years, her accomplices 3 to 12, and Horizon Properties was dissolved, its assets funding rancher reparations. My cattle were declared a protected resource, and Javier became their official vet. Elena, cleared of charges, was promoted. Standing on my land, watching my herd graze, I felt my father's pride. Vanessa had underestimated the power of truth and a rancher's resolve. My cattle, symbols of survival, thrived under the Wyoming sky, proof that love for land and legacy could outlast greed. What would you do if someone tried to steal your family's legacy? Should grief ever justify breaking the law? Was Vanessa a villain or a victim of her own pain? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and subscribe for more stories of ordinary people taking on impossible odds. Share this with anyone who's ever fought for what's right.